A few days ago of recording this video, I posted this TikTok where I gave some unsolicited opinions and review about the new Crazy Kennar movie that he dropped on YouTube called Iscariot. As expected, the reactions were mixed. Well, to be honest, they were really bad. I'm not gonna lie, they were worse. It was borderline cyberbullying.
This other page called Nairobian Juice also reposted the video and the reactions were yikes. They were worse. However, the big takeaway from that video is I promise to do a lengthy review later in the week, after and only after I have watched the movie to completion, which brings us to today.
So I'm about to watch this movie for the first time, from the beginning to the end to the fullest. The big question is, why the hell am I doing this knowing that number one, no one is ever going to watch this video review, and number two, the intended target, which is Crazy Kennar, will probably never see this video.
The love. I am doing this for the love. I consider myself a film critic and I consider Mr. Crazy Kennar to be the greatest content creator in Kenya. One of Crazy Kennar's goal in life is, in his own words, to win an Oscar.
Mimi nataka kushinda Oscar. Hata saa hii days zenye zimebaki nishinde Oscar ni 1819 days. Nakuanga na calendar.
You have documented them?
Yeah, I document my daily. I have a whole document.
If that is ever to happen, we need to export the greatest ever product, not mediocrity. In the first 15 minutes I watched this film, it screamed mediocrity. Regardless, I am willing to sit through the whole roller coaster once again and give it a new chance. I really hope my second viewing will give me a different opinion of the film.
Alright, let's do this. I am watching it to the fullest. Here we go. Lock in.
And yes, I did end up watching the whole film from start to finish once again, taking no break and paying complete attention, no distraction, 100% sober and completely locked in.
So, how's the movie?
Let's talk about it.
First of all, let me just put this out there. This film has three characters: Peter, his wife, and this shitty-ass looking car. Yeah, stick with me. This gets interesting. The movie follows our protagonist Peter. Given by the prop book he conveniently carries at the beginning of the movie, he happens to be a CRE teacher who apparently is a workaholic on the verge of getting a promotion. Life is figured out. He has a hot smoking wife, a school that loves him, and a shitty looking car that he clearly can't live without because it takes him everywhere. But you see, here's the problem. This nigga is a freaking serial cheater. Apparently him being a workaholic most of the time wasn't because he was in meetings or in school. He just loved cheating on his pregnant wife. Hold on to that point, we'll get to it in a minute. So the story begins with Peter happily driving home with a bunch of flowers to go pick up his wife, probably to take her to the maternity ward or something because she was clearly approaching a due delivery date. And yeah, let's just ignore the cringe acting. Come on, nobody fucking smiles like this, but I digress. Peter doesn't find his wife at home, and the living room is in a mess with blood stains all over the floor. After quickly making some phone calls off screen, he locates his wife to a hospital where she had unfortunately suffered a miscarriage. Carrying that prop book to cover his cheating ass, and like the gullible stupid piece of shit that she is, she believes everything he says.
I understand.
Over the next few months, life goes from bad to worse. Peter mysteriously develops a case of schizophrenia where he hears voices in his head and is constantly tortured by his car. Yeah, that one lame-ass looking car with a shitload of problems. Rusted paint job, an old engine. The voices go from irritating and distracting where he can't make a coherent sentence in important occasions and can't focus in basic conversations, to straight up controlling and distracting. The car literally becomes sentient. It becomes alive. It dictates everything it does, and for some weird reason, the car produces sex moaning sounds. You see Peter, a once hailed and widely beloved deputy principal, slowly fall into madness and insanity.
You can do whatever the hell you want. You're done.
And when you're watching it for the first time, it seems like it's out of no reason, but the descent into madness affects his career, his marriage, and his life. His wife, the ever blindly gullible loser, is head over heels for him. She always plays the second fiddle in Peter's life. His work is always important to him than the marriage. He is constantly late for dates, late for dinner, always stands up in important appointments, and she has never been a priority in his life. This stupid piece of shit is just a bad husband. The climax of the story happens when the insanity has taken over him to the point he got fired because he started acting like a maniac in school. Randomly picking on students, being late for classes, and blowing his shot as a deputy principal because of obsessively cleaning his car. Oh, and he almost attacked one of his colleagues.
Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
He was late for a date with his wife, started acting out in front of her by attempting to murder the car with a rock, and his madness in turn leads him into having an estranged relationship with her. He fell into alcoholism to curb the pain. The movie cross-cuts with him driving under the influence at the beginning of the movie when her wife was having a miscarriage, and the reason why he was not present when she was experiencing the miscarriage was, surprise, surprise, he was cheating on her with another bitch inside the car. That very car that became sentient and started torturing him with the sex sounds. The movie ends with him getting into an accident and passing away because he was drunk, driving and staring at his phone. As he was crashing, he left a voice note to his wife confessing everything about his affairs and where he was when she was having the miscarriage, and the video cuts to an epilogue where apparently 6 years later, Magdalene, his wife, now has 2 children. Presumably he is, and is single-handedly raising both of them alone in a bigger house than what they used to live in, driving a better car than what he had, and living a presumably better life, as she occasionally plays the voice recording of Peter when he was just about to crash. The end.
When I was watching this film, I kept having this feeling that I've seen this movie somewhere. Every single shot, every single frame, every single line of dialogue, I felt like I have seen this somewhere. Can't put my finger on it. Can't put my finger on it. But I need something. I have a feeling I know what it is. I know I've seen it somewhere. I just can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, I'm not making this up. I actually figured it out while I was hitting my workouts. Crazy Kennar plagiarized Stephen King line for line, bar for bar. Clearly, Crazy Kennar is a fan of horror movies, specifically Stephen King. Fortunately, I also happen to be a fan of Stephen King, and I've read all his books because I got no life, and
I'm about to show you proof how Iscariot is a Stephen King ripoff. Check this out.
In 1980, Stanley Kubrick directed this critically acclaimed movie called The Shining, based off of Stephen King's book of the same name.
Here's Johnny!
Basically, it's about this guy called Jack, played by Jack Nicholson, who goes insane because the Shining hotel that they were staying at is possessed, and he ends up doing weird shit like typing nonsense on a keyboard, which in turn ends up destroying his family because he almost butchered his wife with an axe and kept tormenting her, and he died in a snow free zone.
Your house!
In 1983, John Carpenter directed this movie called Christine. It's about this nerdy high school student, Annie Cunningham, who becomes obsessed with a 1958 Plymouth Fury he buys for cheap. The car named Christine is possessed by an evil, jealous spirit that takes over Annie's life, changes his personality, murders anyone who threatens its relationship with him. The underlying plot of having a miscarriage is a common theme in a lot of Stephen King works. In the 2019 Netflix film and the novella by Stephen King and Joe Hill, a pregnant woman, Becky, and her mother got lost in a field. A tragic plot point involves the character Shannon, who is shot and subsequently suffers a miscarriage. The Shining. The book contains a potential reference to a past abortion or miscarriage that Wendy may have had.
Okay, I think you're starting to see where I'm going with this. Let me give you one final example.
And that final scene where Peter leaves all that voice recording to his wife before he drunk drives and crashes kinda looks a lot like the plot of Eminem's song Stan, where once again, surprise surprise, Stan drives his car off a bridge while it's raining with his pregnant wife in the trunk and they all die.
This movie doesn't feel original. It feels like a production where a Frankenstein's monster of ideas and borrowing of homages and other things are just assembled together. Oh, achane chukue part ya Shining. Oh, achane chukue part ya Misery. Take one here, take one here, take one here, take one there, take one there. Now garnish it all together and make a movie. That's what it feels like. At this point, I can't tell if Crazy Kennar was doing this subconsciously or he's just a really big fan of Stephen King, but he just can't help and not notice it.
I have a problem with how the protagonist Peter is written. We are shown that he is a teacher and is beloved by students, but at no point do we ever see him earn his trust and adoration in class. Yes, I see him carrying a CRE book everywhere he goes. I see the children, who definitely don't look like teenagers by the way, but that's besides the point, cheering for him when he gets a promotion, but at no point do we actually see him in class earning this adoration. Storytelling, we have something called show, don't tell. Crazy Kennar as a screenwriter has a problem of showing us things. He resolves to telling us and spoon feeding us and treating his audience like a bunch of simpletons, stupid, slow consumers.
Mr. Peter has dedicated himself to serving this school, from achieving the best mean scores to being a role model to the students.
Instead of telling us all this, just give us a montage of him in class, a montage of his students enjoying his lessons. Hell, I wouldn't mind an extra 7 minutes of seeing Peter having good relations with his fellow teachers and students, because when he says things like this,
Wow, you know the drill.
you know that's something they are used to. It's clear that he became a deputy principal because he chose to deal with this trauma of losing a child by getting indulged in his work and locking in instead of mourning for the miscarriage of his wife. I don't feel sorry for him at the end of the movie when he's crying and drunk and regretting everything, because I wasn't made to feel that way. The story doesn't make me feel his pain. I am not watching a once successful man fall into despair inside a car. I am watching Yafesi Muskie acting with bare minimum script. One thing that I hate about this character is how she was made to look like a complete useless garbage in the story. A lot was left on the table for her. Being a housewife and having a lot of time on your hands means you have all the time to snoop into your suspicious husband's activity. Why is he always late for dates? Why doesn't he eat the food I cook? Why is he never in school? Why is he failing into insanity? Like, I don't know, man. What kind of a woman doesn't ask herself these questions? It's human nature to want to know more and snoop. The most interest she showed in the suspicious activity of her husband's descent into madness was when she made a random ass phone call to the school to inquire about it, just because the plot required her to do it. No, seriously, that's it. That's the only time she ever did that. The only time they had an argument was this one scene where Celestine Gashuhi get the performance of a lifetime and outshined the protagonist.
You can't give me an hour. You can't give me an hour. You can't give me an hour for us to process it.
Oh, by the way, these two main characters are severely underdeveloped. The movie's runtime is approximately 55 minutes. A 55-minute runtime is way too little to flesh out the characters and the story and their motives. Crazy Kennar failed as a writer to do that, and in turn, he was forced to tell us everything by spoon-feeding the exposition line by line.
My problem with the editing of this movie is some shots really feel unnecessary. Some shots feel like they're not even supposed to be there. Others feel like they're too long, others feel like they're too short, and some other shots feel really lazy. You can even tell that this is a reshoot. This is a reshoot. This is a reshoot right here. This is a reshoot.
And some shots are just so damn annoying. Seriously, look at this. What was the point of this dualism right here? I mean, was the cinematographer just flexing that new skill he learned while he was playing with this camera? What is the fucking point of me, the audience, watching this character stare into the horizon for 6 seconds if it doesn't benefit the fucking story? Like, is he randomly arranging files in his office? I mean, yes, I get that he's crazy and slowly descending into insanity, but what was the point of this scene? There are a lot of scenes in this movie that just doesn't belong here. I can do away with this scene and you can replace it with something meaningful. Here's the thing, I have a feeling the cinematographer binge-watched this Studio Binder channel, specifically this video about camera angles and shots, and this one about framing, and gave out his resume to Crazy Kennar. Why is this shot of exposed while this isn't exposed? And they happen on the same freaking scene. Like, this is the same scene.
I can't believe I even have to say this, but there's a difference between a play and a screen. How you act in a play is different than how you act on a screen. There's some things that work in a play and there's some things that work on screen. They're not the same. My guy, boss, nobody emotes like this in real life. Like this guy, everything was doing is just making music. You build that thing in a play. It feels like you just took some actors from the theaters. I don't know who these guys are, but specifically this protagonist. Anakamse ule mtu kwa cinema and then ukamleta hapa kwa movie. Again, I'm not complaining about his acting. I'm just saying how he chose to act. He's acting like this is a play. This is not a play, my guy. You do not behave like this in real life.
I am not watching a movie. This is what it is, a play. Disguise yourself as a movie. I will give kudos to Celestine Gishuhi. With the absolute bad dog shit script that she was given, she was able to make lemonades with them. Okay, Mr. Crazy Kennar, I'm going to ask you this question politely as a viewer. What is the point of the epilogue? What purpose does it serve to the story? No, seriously, you say it's 6 years later and she supposedly has 2 children, living a better life and driving a better car. At what point in the story did she do to deserve all this? Maybe I'm stupid, but if I remember correctly, she was a housewife. How does a housewife suddenly become this wealthy in 6 years with no context?
Mommy, is Daddy resting with the angels?
Mommy is here.
She avoids the question of answering about their father because obviously she hates Peter. The big question is, when the fuck was she knocked up? You never saw these two get romantic after the miscarriage. It was always constant fighting and him paying attention to that car. At what point in the story do we witness the possibility of sex and pregnancy?
Okay, like maybe she got a job, maybe she got into money laundering, maybe she has a sponsor, maybe she started a business and she's now successful. Just give me something, give me some information. What I'm doing right now is something we call fan fiction. In other words, I am creating my own story that's not in context or what's given by the author. Najijangia story kwa kichwa. That's not what's supposed to happen. Give me information in the form of exposition. Tell me what happened in these 6 years for her to be this successful. You are leaving me with room to imagine that's not accurate to your story. Why is she doing better right now than she was when she was with her husband 6 years ago? For fuck's sake, give me something. Give me some exposition. I want to know what happened. These 6 years, these 6 montages are time wasted. Like ungetimiza 6 minutes kutuonyesha bila umse alikuwa na bond na mastudio wake na bila alikuwa na bond na how he climb the corporate ladder from being a fucking CRE teacher to a deputy principal. That I wanted to see that. I don't want to be told that, oh, all the students got a 90 and come on. Show, don't tell. My guy, show, don't tell. That's the basic rule of screenwriting. Show, don't tell.
As a screenwriter, you are firing unloaded Chekhov's guns. You are using assumptions to give a necessary closure to an already concluded story to the point you end up ruining the story. If it or not, it's okay for the woman to suffer being poor and mourning a stupid cheating husband because that's the reality of life. You do not owe this character a happy ending if it comes at the cost of insulting the intelligence of the audience.
Yes, come in.
You make another step, and yes. I don't want the chaos. I don't want the chaos. I don't want the chaos. Don't you dare slap me again and drive me nicely.
I don't know why you thought this was a good idea, but it wasn't. The whole car tormenting him was just stupid and unnecessary. It doesn't make sense, and I don't know if you actually finished reading that Stephen King's book.
Hivi si vile gari ilikuanga ina work kwa hiyo movie. Ni kama ulisoma tu and then ukaassume, okay, acha niweke kwa movie yangu.
I don't know, man. Here's an unsolicited advice. Maybe, just maybe, try introducing a psycho blackmailer in the name of this one-night stand instead of this stupid car plotline. I don't know, that's just me. A blackmailer would have worked better than the car. Like seriously, that would have made for a better plotline. All in all, I'm giving this movie a 4 out of 10. Great effort, but the screenwriting and storytelling is just so bad.
I know you're doing some big master's degree somewhere in South Africa, and I'm politely and humbly asking, is this a final year project ulikuwa unafanya ndio graduate to get your master's? Because it really felt like this is a final year project. It doesn't feel like a movie that you worked on. Like, it doesn't feel like it came from the heart. Don't get me wrong, I understand you used your money, you used your resources, everything, and you can tell that this is someone who's gone to a film school because of the basics being applied on the screen. But at the end of the day, were you doing this for graduation or were you doing this to actually put a movie out? I'm honestly asking that question. Asiko Ubaya. I'm sorry if this comes out a bit rude, but please answer me. You are the biggest content creator in Kenya, hell, in Africa. You are Kenya's biggest export in terms of entertainment. You, sir, you single-handedly dominate this industry. Nobody hates you. We all want to see you grow. We all want to see you succeed. But my fucking goodness, you will not do that with such movies. I think your biggest weakness as a screenwriter and a director got exposed in this movie. And that weakness is you cannot tell a story beyond 10 minutes. The idea is there. I feel like I know the story. It's about this guy who goes crazy because of cheating on his wife. And now he's suffering for it because he's slowly driving himself towards insanity. I get the story. But my guy, sifai kuitafuta hivyo sana. Mr. Crazy Kennar, as a director, you are flawless, untouchable. But as a storyteller, as a screenwriter, my fucking goodness, you need help. You really need to polish your work. You can write in ujinga. You can actually do things. You can actually make great things. But you can't make great things over 10 minutes. That's the weakness. Stop surrounding yourself with yes men and start surrounding yourself with people who call you out on your bullshit. People who call you out on your mistakes as a filmmaker. People who call you out on your errors. People who tell you to stop indulging in masturbatory filmmaking. Because you know what you feel right now? You are like Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder is one really great director but a really bad storyteller. You're Zack Snyder. You don't have to be Zack Snyder. You can change it. You can be Steven Spielberg. You can be Quentin Tarantino. You can be both a writer and a director. But right now, no. Don't ever write another script worth over 10 minutes long. You can make a movie over 10 minutes long, but don't write that script. You know, here's the funny part. When I dropped that TikTok video a few days ago, I saw that post you made on Twitter. You were like flossing that you're in business class and you were sleeping in business class and you are all unbothered. And come on, I know what you're doing. You're simply flexing that this is my life right now and your words are as inifiki. My guy, that's not how you take criticism. Nobody's jealous of your life. Nobody hates you. Once again, we all love you. Take this L like a man. Use this as a lesson. Take the criticism. I want you to win that Oscar. I want to see what's best for you. This is not how you respond to criticism.